Hello, hello. Welcome to Art and Coloring Lesson 6. This is my live art and coloring class. In this particular class, I'm going to be doing a mini Procreate lesson because some people just want to color digitally. Not everybody wants to buy 15,000 markers when you can have every color at your disposal. So, give me a few seconds to just set up here and make sure there's no tech gremlins. Is the screen clear? Anybody here? If there's anybody here, please say hi so I know that somebody's here. Hi. And the screen is clear for you? Perfect. Perfect. Let me get another light source going. I don't like using my overhead light when I'm using Procreate because it's too bright. Hi Amber. One thing I'm still working out is lighting. You know, if you're thinking about doing starting a vlog or a page, lighting is so important. And I've got like 15 different lights in here, still trying to find the perfect lighting solution. I think that's perfect. I think it's about as good as we're gonna get. I think that's about as good as we're going to get today. Let me see if I can find a little bit of mood music. I just got finished putting on a new protector. I use a magnetic protector on my iPad, so it's probably gonna take it a minute to break it in, but I just put a new one on there. I hate the Paperlight protectors that have the bubble, so I moved on to getting the magnetic one. But you have to break these in a little bit more, so you get more so it's seamless. But if you're gonna draw on your iPad, I highly recommend getting a Paperlight screen protector. And extra nibs because when you use it, it's gonna wear your nibs down. Just like drawing a pencil drawing on real paper, it will wear your nibs down. If you're just coming in, say hi. That was one of the reasons why I didn't start exactly at 7. I was literally still putting the thing on. It's like it's always something. Okay, well, we got 5 people in here. Not bad. I feel like as time goes on, I have less and less people show up for the class. So I don't know. Been debating if I was going to continue the. I will still be coming live here on 7 o'clock, but I was debating on whether or not I'll be continuing the class, or would I just be moving on to doing more illustrations and live drawing. Hi. Don't make fun of my I just realized I'm about to invest in me and get me a new iPad holder because I just can't be out here living like this, especially if I'm gonna be on camera. I just looked at this. I was like, this is not good. I'm gonna get you a new one, damn it. Been having the same one since 2020. Well, today's class is going to be a mini Procreate lesson. I know not everybody uses Procreate, but I know some people do. And if you've been on the fence about it, maybe this will help you. Um, and we're gonna be using it in regards to coloring in a coloring book. I'm not gonna be using it in regards to doing illustrations. That's gonna be a whole nother thing. But I will work with you today on how to use it for your coloring. Hiya. Hi. So, but there's 2 apps we're gonna look at today. One, of course, Procreate, but there's another app that I don't know if a lot of people know about. It's called Autodesk Pro, Autodesk Sketchbook Pro, and it's for iPad and Android. So even if you had an Android tablet, if you wanted to use that to color, you can use Autodesk Sketchbook, and I believe it's free. It was free for me when I got it. Um, and if you wanted to get like premium features, it's like $2.99. But it was free for me when I got it. Hello. And the reason why I'm gonna bring in that up is because a lot of you still buy physical sketchbooks. Like, a lot of people. Yes, there's digital sketchbooks. Um, but for a lot of people, it's cheaper to buy the physical ones from, say, Amazon, or maybe you have my sketchbook. I mean, maybe you have my coloring book, hint hint, and you want to be able to color it, but you don't want to color it physically. Well, you can use Autodesk Sketchbook to scan the artwork in, and you can use that to color it in Procreate. And we'll also go over basics in Procreate, like how to even open up a document and how to make sure your document isn't pixelated. But I wanted to show you this because I don't see a lot of people talking about this option. Hi, guys. Thank you for coming in. Please like the live. So this is a page from my Zodiac collection book. By the way, if you don't know, all 3 of my sketchbooks are available on pre-order right now. Vibe and Color, Zodiac Dreams, and Pause and Proper. All 3 are available for pre-order. They are linked in my bio, or you can just go to my website, junk12.com. As soon as you get on the website, the first things you will see will be the coloring book pre-orders. And if you haven't seen Pause and Proper, that is like my Bridgerton animal inspired coloring book. This is a page I did on TikTok live the other night. So it's very, very fancy animals. This is Princess Maxine. She's based off of my miniature schnauzer, but she's giving very much Queen Charlotte vibes right now. It's fancy animals, fancy outfits, a lot of things that you can use, all of the things that we've done in the class so far to, color your own little fancy animals. And like I said, this is Pisces. She is from my Zodiac Dreams book. Now, let's say I don't want to physically color Pisces, which in another class, I will physically color her for y'all. Hope y'all have a notebook ready. I'm about to show y'all some stuff. Actually, I think I want to raise this up a little bit so you can really, really see. Okay, so I'm going to lay this out. Now, you want to make sure you have decent lighting to do this with. That's one thing I will say. It's best to do this in the day. You could take your coloring book outside, take your iPad outside, or your Android. Remember, this works on Android too. and be in the sunlight so you have the best lighting. So don't judge me based on the lighting. But this is the app. Let me find it in the app store for y'all. Not now. We are not doing any updates right now. Okay. You literally type in sketchbook. It's this app right here. It's called Sketchbook. You can see it has very high reviews. You can color and draw directly in this app. No ads, no subscription, no data collection. It's literally just an art app. And it's on Android and Apple. So that's the app. Okay, so you can open this app up. Right now I'm in the gallery setting. And I'll probably do a mini video on this just to show you how to operate it. I just want to show you what's possible right now. Also, there's some sketches in here I can't let y'all see because I was going through some stuff at one point when I had this app, and woo child, I was doing some diary sketching in here, and there's some stuff that y'all, there's some images y'all don't need to see. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I believe I'm gonna go to my. Yes, I'm gonna go to my. This, I'm in the gallery section, so I'm gonna go to my plus sign, and then first they're gonna ask me if I want to add new sketch. What do you mean, Blair? They're gonna ask me different options. They're gonna say they want to add new sketch. They want to say new from image, new from gallery, and then they have a right at the bottom. They said add scans to gallery. Oh yeah, I used to do diary sketching, and like I said, I got some sketches in there that it can never, ever, ever see the light of day. Temporarily gonna turn this light on. I was trying to do it without it, but you see down here where it says add sketches to gallery. So I'm going to turn that on, and what it does is it activates a camera. I'm not gonna be able to get the best thing because this thing is in the way. And it's gonna take a picture for me. See, it took the picture. Now, mind you, I'm got the camera right here, so I can't really move the iPad where it needs to be. But let's just say for crap and giggles, that it took a perfect picture. So now I have this picture of my coloring book page, right? Down here, there's an icon with an eyeball. I click it, it turns the background off. Now I can color on her. She has no background. That was two steps. That was two steps. It. She's ready to go. She's now only line art. She's only line art now. Now I could click done and it's going to save it. Now earlier when I didn't have the phone in the way, I was able to get like a perfect version of it. So you can see that I actually have the whole image because I was able to get a better. And so if I wanted to bring this, I can, like I said, this is a coloring app. So I can color this right in here. Because they have all the little tools. Now I don't use this anymore, so I can't really give any tutorials in this, but let's say I wanted to just color it right in here. That's my colors. I don't remember how to make the brush bigger or not. Oh, I think that's that. Is that how you make it bigger? Yes, there it is. There's a bunch of tutorials on how to do this. And then, look at that. Not even right underneath the line work. Now I can actually use this to color. So I say you can stay in this app if you want to. You can do everything in this app if you want to. But I personally, I would just go ahead and try to export it out or save it to my thing. I don't remember how to export. How do I export? I think it's the file. Right. I would you can export that file and you can save it where you want to save it. You can save it to your gallery. You can save it to your, you can save it wherever you want to save it. And that's how one way you can get your coloring pages into your iPad. I wish that Procreate had this option built in it, but it doesn't. But you can, like I said, this is a free app. You can use this app to scan your images and have them in your iPad. And this is not just for coloring book pages. If you like to sketch in your sketchbook and you do a line art of a sketch and you want to preserve it, this is a way to bring it into your iPad or your Android so that you can color it there. Let me see here. And I think there is another. So that is one way to do it. And let me get my practice coloring. Oh, Jesus. I'm in the middle of redesigning my. I'm still redesigning my studio and I have stuff everywhere. And if I don't watch where I step, I'm taking a tumble. I don't watch what I'm step. I'm going head first. That's what I'm looking for. Found what I'm looking for. Got it. Perfect. Ow! Remember this page? That was from the first syllabus. Actually, I have both printed front and back. I don't think I ever did the one with the roses. Did anybody find that helpful? And if you have any particular questions along the way, even if it's not about Procreate, let me know. This is y'all time to pick my brain and ask me anything. Whether that be about Procreate, coloring, painting, content creation, this is your time to ask me. You're welcome. Second, I am pulling this image into my Procreate right now. So I wanted to show y'all that because I know I give y'all a lot of printouts, and you can do your printout and then scan it in to your digital device now if you want to. Also, another thing that you can do, you can always take pictures of images and bring them into Canva and just have Canva remove their background as well. If you're familiar with doing that with Canva, and then just download it as a PNG. Not now, Canva. Not now. Okay. So I want to bring a coloring page, a digital coloring page into my Procreate. One thing is you can always open up Procreate and go to the plus sign. Well, for one, you can always just hit import, and import is going to pull up everything you need to import anyway. If you have the file on your iCloud drive or anything like that, which usually if you're downloading stuff, that's usually where it's going to be. I usually like, and you can also upload a photo, click photo, and they'll upload your photos. But one thing, I like to make my document first so I know exactly what my DPI is. My DPI means dots per, I can't remember if it's dots per, yeah, dots per inches. Whenever you're working in Procreate, you want to make sure that you have a 300 DPI. You do not need more. Some people be like, "Oh, I do 350, I do 400." You're gonna break your device. You're gonna overload by making these things too big. The professional industry standard is 300 to maybe 320 DPI. Anything less than that is unnecessary and it's going to make your files too dang big. And unless you have an iPad Pro, I do not recommend going over 300 DPI because it's going to make it to where you have less layers. Your boyfriend is right. Whoever sent you that, they sent you the PDF is low res. So that would be another. So the thing is, it's hard to fix a low res because they sent it to you low res. It's nothing that you did. It's the person that sent you the PDF themselves. They sent it to you low res. So it's kind of hard for you to go back and reverse engineer the images. You kind of have to go to the person you got it from and see if there's a way for them to like send you a better version because they're supposed to ensure that when they send you something it's not low res. They compress the file down too much, so that was a issue on their end, not yours. And I know this because I've accidentally done it. I've sent files that were compressed too far down. Let me turn this off so I don't have that glare. That's why you're supposed to test the files before they send them to you. But things happen. PNG, see, even with a PNG is those are individual files. If somebody sent you a PDF, then that's the format they sent it to you in PDF. If they wanted to send you a PNG, they would have sent you each individual file in a PNG in a compressed zip folder. And you would have had to go to like Dropbox or Google Drive to download it. Because I send you guys PDFs all the time to print out. And I know that they're not coming to you a little fuzzy. No, she just needs to watch. She just needs to be mindful of the compression that she's using for the file. That's all. She just needs to be mindful of the compression. She's compressing it too small. If she can't find a way to send it to you, without compressing the file, then she needs to create a Google Drive or a Dropbox account and put the whole size of the file in there and let you download it from there. Not Don't compress it. Okay, so I want to bring in my coloring page. I'm going to hit the plus sign. I'm going to set up my own canvas. So I'm going to So here's the thing where you're going to think of, is this something that's just going to live in your iPad, or is this something you may want to print down the line? And the reason why you have to think about that is because if you're going to print it out later on, you want to use CMYK. Cyan, magenta, um what are the colors? Cyan, magenta. What are the colors, y'all? What are the three colors? Oh, cyan, magenta, yellow. But basically, that means that you're going to be printing the file. Thank you, Wally. I was like, I got it at the end, yellow. Uh, that means you're going to be printing the file. If you're not going to worry about printing it, you can stay with RGB, which is mean that is the colors that you use on the screen. I actually prefer to use, when I'm in Procreate, to use RBG, and then when I just take it to Photoshop later and convert it to CMYK. And that's because it's just, I like the way the color wheel looks in RGB, but that's a personal preference. But I'm just giving y'all little tidbits for in the future. But anyway, I'm going to create my own personal file. Um, I'm pretty much going to let this live in Procreate. So for my dimensions, I always tend to use inches, and I'm always at 8.5 by, no, that is not what I told you to do. Obey. Oh my god. Okay. 8.5. Can y'all see that? 8.5 by 11. That's letter size. That's standard size. I do most of my artwork in that those dimensions. My DPI, that's what I was talking about to y'all earlier. It's set to 300. Leave it at 300. And it'll tell you how many layers you can use with this. Also, if you're working in Procreate, like I said, you can look at your color profile and you can decide which one you want. Do you want RGB or do you want CMYK? I'm not gonna print this out at any point, so I'm gonna leave it at RGB. You can also play with your time lapse setting. Procreate will automatically create a time lapse video for you when you are working in it. All you have to do is just make sure that it is on. I got it on good quality. I wonder what studio quality is. Oh, I'm gonna have to test these. They even have one that's lossless. Has anybody used that one? I didn't even know they had a 4K version. Yes, CMYK. So cyan, magenta, yellow, black. Those are the colors. I'm gonna have to test this. They be just opening stuff on me. And then, your canvas properties, if you wanted to have a background color, you want the background to be hidden, you can do all of that. You can also name your canvas. Let's name this. I think this is lesson 6. Lesson part whatever. Okay. Now I have it. Now it's set up. I know that it's not going to be pixelated because I have it to 300 DPI. I'm going to go to, not the gallery, Jesus. I'm going to go to a little wrench and I'm going to add, and I'm going to insert a photo. And I know this is the photo I want. This is the one from the class. This is the one I sent you on week 1. And you could, when it comes in, it's going to be in auto selection mode. That means you can manipulate it. Make it bigger, make it smaller, flip it, rotate it, reset it to where it was, fit the canvas, was what I was going to do. To get to that at any point, you just hit the arrow and it'll open that up. And like I said, you can do all kind of different things with it. And you can always hit reset. This is also where you can warp, and this you can warp it. Set. Distort. You can distort it. If I can scan out a little bit so I can see what it looks like to distort it. That's not what I wanted to do. So distort, I can, let's say I wanted to put something in perspective. You can use distort to help you with that. So I can actually put this in perspective if I wanted to. Okay. Back to normal. And this is another tip when you're playing with this. Make sure you use a uniform. If you accidentally go out of bounds and you click out of here, you've now cut off that. So be careful not to go out of bounds because now you've just cropped it. And I still need to go back to turn back on my unlimited. There we go. I'm about to say I need to turn back my unlimited undos. So say I didn't want this to have value practice and everything on it anymore. I'm just going to click it and I'm just going to make it so big that it's not there anymore. And I'm going to hit freeform so I can stretch the canvas out so I can make it fit the way I want to. And if you ever need to zoom out, make sure you're doing your 2-finger pinch. That is not what I wanted to do. Try not to touch the actual figure when you do it though. Okay. So I'm going to try to fill this whole page because I don't want any of that white background here. Also, this up here allows you to rotate. And this allows you to change the direction of your rotation. So I'm just going to adjust it the way I want it to be on here. Okay. Now I pretty much have that one. Now this still has a background on it. So there might be some different ways you can get rid of the background. I'm just going to see if I can do it with the selection tool. Selection tool, automatic. If it'll let me grab all the whites and then come out right. Fingers down. Cut. I want to see if that actually let me do it. It left a ring around it, so I wouldn't actually use that method. No, go all the way back. Wait a minute. Come on, undo the selection. I mess with my gesture controls. And I don't know how to get the dang suckers back. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Tap with 2 fingers to do automatic thing. All right. So I think there's one way you can do it. You can set this to be a reference layer. I'm testing this as I go. Yeah. That's one way to do it if you just want to use solid colors. You can set the layer in there, which by the way, this is your layers panel. I believe I went over that before. I think I want to say in like lesson 4 what your layer panels were. But there's this little thing to here called reference layer. You can click it and it makes everything in here with the black lines something that you can drag and drop color into. So I wanted to, I can just drag and drop color and it'll live in that little spot. This is a simple way to just, that's not what I meant to do. Make sure you're getting in the actual area. Quick, simple little way to add color. Let's see if it lets me. There we go. Undo everything. Oh, by the way, this is your undo and your redo. That's why you see me constantly tapping it. Another way to undo things, if I didn't have my nails on, it'd probably be a lot easier, is to tap with two fingers and it'll do a rapid undo of everything you just did. I tend to turn that off because nothing annoys me more if I just got finished doing something and I accidentally touch it with two fingers and it deletes it. I'll be ready to throw my iPad, so I turned it off, but then I run into trouble where I need it and I can't use it. It's not a perfect system. You're going to learn it as you go. Another thing to do, let me take it off our reference layer, is to set this layer to multiply mode, which is a blend mode. Multiply and create a blank layer underneath. I believe it'll let me. Yep, there we go. Now you can color in it and the line stays there. Did everybody catch that, or they want me to show you that one again? Thank you, love. Yeah, you can use the reference one that I showed you to drag and drop like solid colors. Sorry, my husband just bought me a smoothie. Or you can set the layer to multiply and it'll allow you to draw underneath it. I'll do it again. Okay, so let's say I bring this in and I get it adjusted the way I want to, and I want to color underneath the lines. An easy, quick way to do that without doing the scan method that I showed you earlier is just to open up your layers panel, which is these two papers next to each other. Click the add button to add a new layer. Drag that layer underneath the layer with the line art. The layer with the line art, you're going to click the N. See, there's like a little. You're going to click the N. And that means these are blending modes. I always tell you, play around with your blending modes. You can do so much with them. Open up your blending modes, you're going to go to multiply. Set it to multiply. Multiply is a blending mode. That means everything underneath the multiply layer is going to like blend to it. The multiplier will take on every shade that you put underneath it, basically. So now that I have it on multiply layer, this one, go to the layer underneath. And now you can start coloring and your lines stay. Like I said, you can do this for sketches in your sketchbook, For coloring pages. And this is also a perfect way to do color studies. The color drop. Let me duplicate this layer. Hold on. So you want to make sure that this layer is set back to normal. Normal, where are you? That sounds like the title of my biography. Normal, where are you? Um, Tap the image, the preview of the image, and then you're gonna go down. Is that where you find it at? Where's the reference layer? Yeah, here it is. Oops, what did I do? Jesus. Um, you're going to the one that's, oh, I hit invert. You're going to the one that says reference. You click on reference. Now this is a reference layer. Now you can drag and drop different colors inside of the images as long as it's a closed image. If it's open, it's going to go everywhere. But as long as it's the closed segment, it'll live within it. So I can drag and drop different colors all over. This is good for like laying down quick flat color. Oops, see, that one wasn't a closed layer, so I missed it. And it's a way to just add different textures. And if you get the whole thing filled in, you can then probably turn off the background layer any freaking way. If you want to double up on it, like I said, you can duplicate the layer, put it on top, set it to multiply, put a layer in between the two. Ooh, can you hear the scratchiness of that new paper-like screen protector? I'm gonna turn off the reference layer. I'm gonna go back to working with the multiply layer. Anybody got any questions? I'm trying to make this a little bit bigger. Are they playing video game music behind me? Lord. Okay, now I want to get into coloring. My favorite brushes to use. Now, I'm always going to show you using brushes that are already built into Procreate. Ignore the fact that I have 18,000 brushes. I am a brush whore. I have no shame in saying that. And I didn't say whore. I'm hoarder. I'm brush whore. I'm a sucker for a good brush. So that's why I have so many. But when I teach you, I'm always going to teach you with the brushes that come built into Procreate. That way it's an even playing field. So never you mind when you see all them dang brushes on here. So I'm going to go to painting. My favorite brush to use for most of the things is going to be the round brush for most of the flat things that I do. So I'm going to start with my background. And give me like a pretty... Yes, reference works best with clear black lines, which is why it's perfect for people who are coloring in coloring books because it's it's very clear, precise black lines. So I think I'm gonna start on my background. I got my round brush. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna start laying my flat colors that I want in here. And you feel free to yell out colors because I have every color at my disposal right now. And don't be afraid of overlapping because remember you have this handy dandy eraser, and if you have your Apple Pencil, there's a button on here to activate your eraser. I turned mine off because obviously I have a grip on my pencil because I was gonna get out. I was on a path to getting carpal tunnel. And so I've got my flat blue there, and let's say I want to get kind of fancy. Let's get a different brush. I don't have a. I don't have a soft brush in the painting section. Who knew? Oh wait, there's the airbrush brush. Now normally I do not like using the airbrushes. I hate them. But every now and then if I want a certain effect, I will use the soft airbrush. But I nothing annoys me more than seeing people color entire images using the airbrushes because I can tell. It can be whatever you want. Now, if you're talking about drawing in perspective, if you're trying to achieve aerial perspective, then the rose bush in the front would be the darkest. And you would get lighter as you go back. That's called aerial perspective. But the color of the sky is usually not affected by that. That would be the color of your like trees and stuff. Whatever you put as your sky color is your sky color. There's the sky is going to be what color it want to be. So aerial perspective is basically using blending and shading and value to create perspective. So everything that's up front is darker and has more contrast and more dense. And as it goes further back in space, it gets lighter. So I just grabbed a soft airbrush because I want to do some fun effects. What color complements blue? I want to see how many of y'all remember that color wheel lesson. Yes, I just Dora the Explorer you. Y'all take it too long. I'm just going to answer it. Orange. So I'm going to add a little bit of orange to my sunset. And because I'm using that soft airbrush, it kind of helps blend. And if I want to lower the opacity, it helps blend it more. The sun has started setting in the day. And like I said, do not be afraid of going over the lines because you can work in layers. That's the one of the few times you will see me use a soft airbrush brush. You'll see me use it in maybe doing the sky. If I'm doing blush on a character's like face and I want that, the cheeks to be soft and rosy, you'll see me use it. But the first brush I used was the standard round brush. In order to get this soft pillowy effect that I just did, you're going to use the airbrush. This comes with Procreate. It's called airbrushing. It's the soft brush. That is the only times this is the only airbrush you will see me use most of the time. Like, I am not an airbrush girl. I can usually tell when somebody has been using the airbrush tool in their digital art. To me, it's a dead giveaway that you did it digitally. But that's just a personal preference. Because people who use that brush tend to overblend. All right. Like I said, don't worry about going over the lines, because if you want to, you can just make another layer on top. Right, now you can just make another layer, and now you won't have to worry about disturbing this layer underneath. I'm going to go back to my round brush. Luckily, Procreate creates a recent thing, and it'll always keep the recent brushes that you used. Now, if we want to do aerial perspective, it's easier to start at the bottom and work your way up. That way you can be assured that every single layer is darker as you go. So I can start down here at the rose bushes. Excuse me. So I'm going to take like a random green, a darker green. Color them in down here. Now, I'm not going to be too fancy right now. You're not going to see me do a whole bunch of shading and blending. And this is just to show you how to utilize Procreate. But just know when I drop that in-depth Procreate class, be ready. Okay, so I got my base coat, and if you wanted to, you could go back to the airbrush, get a little bit darker, and put like some dark green at the bottom, on the edge of the bottom. A little darker than that, so it'll show up just a little bit of shadow. You gotta buy your what, Lynn? Okay, so I got that down, and then I'm gonna make a new layer. Remember they told me I could make up to 75 layers. So I'm gonna use all 75 of my layers. I'm gonna label this sky so I don't get lost. So I'm gonna actually label this sky. And it's gonna be rose. That's the green for the roses. I'm gonna go on top of there. And I'm going back to my round brush. Like I said, use any brush that you want to use. This is just my particularly favorite brush. Now I'm being mindful of the fact that the sun is setting, so I'm using warmer tones. As like I said, the sun is setting. But that's the fun thing about digital. You can literally do whatever you want to do. If you wanted to Lisa Frank this up, you could, because it's digital. You can do as many versions of it as you want to do. You can do neon. Procreate is like $12.99, Lynn, I believe. It's like $12.99. It's super inexpensive. Right now it is anyway. I always tell people, if you're interested in it, get it now. Did I show y'all how to change your brush size? You see this little scale back and forth? That's my brush size. So I can make it as big as 100% and it's huge. Hit the backspace, or I can make it itty bitty, a little. The one underneath it, this is my opacity. Opacity means how much light something has, light or dark. How solid it is, I should say. So if I put my opacity down to, say, 50%, see how it's not solid anymore. And you can overlay it. And then you put it back to 100%. Now you see the difference. And even though I'm doing a super simple like coloring page right now, these are still things that you would need if you were doing something super complex. Later this week, I'm going to come live and I'm going to work on aquamarine for March's birthstone. And you'll be able to like live watch me live create it. At least I think I'm going to come on live and work on it. We'll see. Because sometimes I get in the mood where I don't want to hear nobody's opinions. I missed the spot right there. I'll go down here and fix that. If you need to get a color that you used before, this little dot and this little square in the middle, this is how I do mine. Now, remember I told you before that you can set your preferences and can change Procreate to be exactly what you want it to be and have every gesture to what you want it to be. For me, I wanted my eye drop to be easy to find, so all I have to do is tap this and it shows up. It grabs the color underneath for me, and I have that color back. One thing that's great about this tool is that it's fully customizable. So if you're left-handed and you wanted your interface to be on the left hand, you can do that. If you want to be able to color with your fingers instead of your stylus, you can turn that on and you can color with your finger. On here. More than likely. We'll see. I don't know. I'll let y'all know ahead of time. Y'all are less likely to yell at me. On TikTok, they will yell at me. They will yell at me the whole time. Yeah, sometimes I try my hardest not to snap back because I don't want to ruin anybody's watching experience, but I'd be like, I was about to do that. What brush do I have? Oh, accidentally. I don't want that brush from my round brush for my eraser. You can also change the brush that you erase with and the brush that you blend with as well. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what super chat is. I'm gonna add a little bit of dimension to this. I'm just going back in with a lighter red and just plopping it in there where I want it to be. Like I said, this is the perfect way to practice. And you can even use this to come up with a color scheme for your physical coloring pages. Like, so let's say you don't want to, you done paid all that money for these oohoo's. You don't want to switch to totally doing digital. You don't have to. Just use it to make your little colorways. You can also just scan your finished coloring pages in and like fix any mistakes. But this is really helps the people who say that they're scared to do it. The amount of people who have bought my coloring books and told me that they're scared to start. I'm like, if you don't scan that in, hey Jada, huh? What do you mean? What I miss? What do you mean you're only in my head? Oh, you mean when I said that people yell at me? Well, heck, it be feeling like hell. You ain't never got a text message in all caps and be like, "Stop yelling at me." Hey Tay. Okay. Jada, you're gonna have to rewatch this one from the beginning. I showed people everybody how to use their iPad as a scanner to remove the background from sketches. And remember, you can get as fancy as you want to get. You can get in there and you can add shadows. You can add all kind of things. But I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next layer. Now here's the trick. And actually, I'm gonna move my sky layer. I must make sure my sky layer is at the bottom. Here's the trick. This layer is supposed to be on top of everything. Meaning that when I color in these leaves, I don't want to color on top of this. So when I create my next layer, I'm going to make sure the layer for these leaves is underneath the layer for the roses and the rose base. That way when I color, it won't go on top. I'll show you what I mean. Like if I just decided to go above, make a new layer above the roses and immediately started coloring. Oh, make sure it's a lighter green than what was at the base of this. If I just put a layer on top of it without worrying about the planning and immediately started coloring, now you see how it goes over it? And I would have to take my time and get the eraser and go back in and erase it and clean it up. But since I know that these leaves are sprouting up behind the roses, I can bring their layer down underneath. I'm going to rename it so I don't lose it. I don't know if I spelled these right. Y'all gonna learn that I can't spell worth a damn. Play around with your position of where your layers are. Name your layers. I'm naming them because I'm in here teaching y'all. If you look at my actual sketching, they ain't named, but I done got to the point to where I don't need to name them no goddamn more, okay? And it's part of my crazy to look through 50 layers to look for one thing. But name your layers. Okay, so now I have moved my layers beneath what I want them to be under. So now when I color, wait, am I? Oh, I'm using an eraser by accident. Okay. Now it falls behind it. And since these lines are so thick and they're kind of enclosed, it might let me drag and drop. Nope, it does not. Well, it's worth a try though. So I'm just gonna color it individually. Okay. Now say I have this layer here and I want to add shading to this layer, but I don't want to make another layer, a clipping mask layer. But I taught y'all how to create a mask, not a mask, an alpha lock. So I can go to this, I can right click it, I can tap on it, and it's gonna open up. I want to go to alpha lock, turn on alpha lock. That means everything that I create in here is not gonna go out of bounds. I want to add a little bit of shading to it, and I don't want it to go all over the place. So now I can do my little shading. And now if I want to use the smudge brush to blend that in. I may not blend it too much because I kind of like the cartoony look of it, but I don't have to worry about it smudging outside of the lines because it's on alpha lock layer. And if you want to add a little bit of highlight to that, I would suggest, since I know, like I said, we're setting, the sun is setting, so we got a little bit of orange going on. So I'm going to actually grab the orange I was working with earlier. I'm going to lower the opacity to it a little bit. And I'm going to put a little bit of orange in there. Add some orange lighting to that because the sun is setting. You know, we got a little orange cast on everything. Nope. Now I want to go to the next layer. I mean, the next group of trees. Again, I don't want to have to worry about it interfering with that. So I'm going to actually create their layer underneath. I'll call them, I don't know, bushes. Bushes. What do you mean it locked? I have it on alpha lock. I physically turned the alpha lock on the layer. The layer is alpha locked. So anything I do within that layer, no matter what I do to it, it's not leaving that group because it's alpha locked. So now we're going on to our next bushes, and like I said, I want it to look like it's going lighter as it goes back. So I'm gonna pick that same green that was here, and I'm only adjusting this little slide right here. You see how this side is dark on one side, light on one side. It automatically will just scale me up, so I know I'm picking a lighter color. Get my brush. I'm actually going to move this a little more toward the orange. And drop that into the... No! Just go into the part that I just... Never mind, damn it. It also helps if you cuss it out. I don't know if I went over that lesson or not. But just like with the Malchus, you gotta, your art supply needs to be thoroughly broken in by cussing it out. I'm actually gonna play with the tones of the different ones too. I'm gonna take this color since it's already on my brush and I'm gonna put it back here. I'm gonna make this one a slightly different color by just moving it around on the color wheel. And you can also change this. You don't have to have this color set up if you don't want to. They have, this is classic. This is the one I like, but they also have the disc. They also have harmony, value, which this helps you with your values right here. And then when you want to make your own palette to use, you can make your own palettes. If you can see, I make my own palettes a lot. Yeah. If I alpha lock it, yes. Like, let's say I make a circle here. If I alpha lock it, everything I do is contained because I alpha lock that layer. So it don't matter how many marks I do, it's contained now. Now this is different. And then when you're alpha locking, you're locking that exact layer. You can manipulate that layer all you want, but you're locking that exact layer. It's different from a mask or a clipping mask. You're actually manipulating that exact layer. Oops, I don't want to go over there. Stay in the line. This is all on one layer. That's why I'm making sure not to go over the other color. In fact, I'm going to start asking people that. Jonquil, I'm having trouble with my coloring. Did you cuss it out? That's going to be my step one. Just how you call tech people and they be like, did you unplug it and replug it in? The first thing I ask you, did you cuss it out first? I like the way it looks when you got the different colors going. Now we're getting a little bit of visual interest. Now let's say I want to add a little more texture to them, but I don't want to work on this layer. I can do a clipping mask. I can put a blank layer on top of them. And I could click that layer and I could hit clipping mask. That means everything that I do in this clipping mask is going to clip on to what's underneath it. But it's not going to affect what's underneath it. So I can take a clipping mask and I could do all kind of things to it like this. Everything's going to stay right here. And if I turn that clipping mask off, you see, everything stays in place. And it doesn't affect what's underneath. Clear. There. I'll try a different brush this time. Let's go to our drawing brushes and see what they do. Little Pine is one of my favorite brushes. So I'm going to take Little Pine. I'm on a clipping mask layer, mind you. I'll pick a little darker color. I'm gonna enlarge it. And let's say we're just adding some different textures. And so if you don't like it, you can always erase it. You're on a clipping mask. So if you don't like it, it's not permanent. And you didn't ruin anything because you're on a clipping mask. To me, if you don't overthink this, this is actually more relaxing than doing it on paper. If you don't because you can't really make a permanent mistake, really. Nothing's more permanent than actually deleting the file. That's the only mistake you can make, really. Which pro tip, when you are working, doing anything digital, please back up your files. Don't just be out here all willy nilly. It's happened to some of the best artists I know, me included. You do not want to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning crying like your pet died because you didn't back up a file. It's just a way to add some little visual interest. So I'll pull out orange that I used from right here, and you put it in the bushes. And we'll add a little more shadow behind these so we can see that they're behind them. So just a little more. Oh, I've lost multiple projects. I've lost one of my best selling illustrations. I had to reverse engineer her, but I actually deleted one of my best illustrations. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but my mother had to rock me like I was a newborn child. And console me because I just couldn't believe. I was like, Lord Jesus, why? Of all the ones to lose. Okay, now I'm doing the big bushes in the back. I want these to be the lightest ones. Or maybe not because the sun is setting behind them. So we'll see. Like I said, we can always play with how we want them to look. Lighting definitely plays a point in your storytelling. The clipping masks themselves, the clipping mask is just a way to do editing to a layer without being destructive. You can make all type of changes to a layer without being destructive, and you can have everything live within that layer. Like for instance, I will make clipping mask. When I'm doing my girls, I will make clipping masks to try different lipstick colors out sometimes. Like I'll make a clipping mask of every single lipstick color. And matter of fact, I think there's one girl that I made, I believe it's you. I made a different clipping mask for every shade of her hair. Yep, this right here. So I couldn't decide what shade I wanted her hair to be. So I literally made a clipping mask of every single shade I wanted to try. Then I wanted to be pink. See. Every single shade I wanted to try on her. So it just gives you it gives you options. Ultimately, I decided to go with the black hair though. But you know, it definitely helps you create different effects. Um, and do different layering techniques. Her outfit, for example, this is all different layers clipped on a clipping mask. If I went through and I turned off each one, you would actually be able to see how I built her outfit. Because I have a layer for the glitter. I can cut that off. That was a clipping mask layer. I have a layer for the gold foil, but that's on do I have a gold foil? Yep, I had a layer for my gold foil. Turn that off. I had a layer for the shadows. I had a layer for the black dots, flowers. It just allows you to manipulate things differently. It's a very, very powerful tool if you can master it. And it's not that hard. You just gotta remember, just turn on your to you when to use it. But look how much visual interest I was able to create. All I did was create the shape of her bodysuit. That's all I did. I created the shape of her bodysuit. Created that shape, and from there I used a clipping mask to clip everything else attached to it. So I did the body suit, then I made a clipping mask, and I did the first layer of flowers, made another clipping mask, did the second layer, did the third layer, fourth layer. Then I added shadows to the whole thing to make it blend because she needed shadows. And then I went in and I added even more embellishments. All of this is done by adding clipping mask. Clipping mask. And so that's why I say sometimes I'll show you something and I'll try to break it down in a simple way. But once you master the simple way, then you can start building way more complex illustrations. And you can add a blending effect to each layer. So if I wanted to create a layer on top of a clipping mask layer on top of this, I can create my layer, do a clipping mask, and then I can set a different blend tone to this. I can set this to color and just pick a red. and just change the color in the clipping mask. So you can attach different blending modes to them as well. So if I wanted just to have more of take a more of an orange hue. And then let me glossy and blur it. It's still a layer. It's still a regular layer. It can still do everything a regular layer can do. All you're doing is clipping it to what's underneath it so that anything you clip it to, that's where it exists. Let's use the gouache brush. Come on, eyedropper. Thank you. I was about to start cussing, so don't you play with me. Welcome back. This is the gouache brush, by the way. Sometimes this, if you tap with the brush, you can get different textures going. Okay. Now that is pretty much for the background. And let's say I'm looking at this and I still feel like I want my roses to come forth more because I feel like they're not the center point of the artwork. You could go in and add more detail to them, or you can go back and find their layer and put a layer underneath them. And I want to see if I can push, I want to drop a color in here. More of a grayish green. That's not what I wanted to go. There we go. Cover the whole thing. Because I want them to be the center of attention. Then I'm just going to go to that layer and I'm going to lower the opacity. I'm going to lower the opacity of that layer a little bit. So there. What if I set it to overlay? And set it to overlay. Now I've toned the whole background down. And so my roses are more vivid now. So if you're ever coloring or drawing something and you feel like the star of the show is not shining, then you just need to tone everything else back. This is also a way to bring color harmony to a piece. Um, I'm a person that likes to use a lot of colors, and sometimes those colors will compete with themselves. So I'll just throw one flat color on top of everything and set it to overlay and just lower the opacity. Now all the colors have now been neutralized. And I say you can play back and forth with how much of it, how the strength of it, and how much of it you want to show through. But now your roses are really, really bright. And you can brighten them even more so. Like if I want them to be, I could duplicate the layer. I can do let's see, where's screen? A screen. I don't want a screen. Screen. How bright do I want y'all to be? So that, like I said, there's something you can do with a lot more you can do with digital art than you can do with traditional art. Not saying you can absolutely do this with traditional art. We would call, if you were doing this, if you were doing watercolor, we would call this putting a wash over everything, a color wash. So you can, I just digitally did a color washing. Now we can go back in and add our little details. I can literally make these this layer right on top of the roses. Get my round brush back and lower the size of my round brush. Here's the problem. I get so used to zooming in sometimes that when it's time for me to go back to drawing traditionally, be like, why can't I zoom? Why can't I zoom? Now, I don't know what Mr. Bumblebee is still doing out this time of the night, but ain't nothing open this time of night, sir, but ATMs and legs. Get you behind home. You can play with changing the opacity of your brush or do transparency. So I just lowered the opacity and now I got a little transparency going. this one right here, since he is so close to the sky, I want to make sure I make him a little bit darker so he has more contrast. Everything, you want to make sure that nothing is really blending in. We got a little bit of contrast going. Too solid, a little opacity. So now it's like transparent. And there you have it. That's how you start off with doing a coloring page in Procreate. Questions, concerns, complaints? Anything you want me to go back over that you missed before I move on? Remember, this is your time to ask the questions. Okay. I actually went faster than I thought. I forgot how fast I am when I'm doing oh, the blending of the sky. It really wasn't much of me physically blending. All I used was a two different brushes to blend. So let me go on top. 1 second. Make a new layer on top. Don't freak out what I'm about to do. That's not what I meant to do. That's why. Why is it dropping and everything? Stop doing the continuous fill. Okay, it's being stupid. Oh, you know what? That actually works. Never mind. You were right, computer. I'm the one in the wrong. Okay. You want to know how to do the sky. So I'm gonna take a random blue. I color the sky. You can color the sky in with whatever color you want. Now you're being okay. I'm working on a different layer, so don't freak out if you see me like destroy everything. I'm working on a clean layer. I just didn't feel like opening up a new document. What the? Stop being stupid. Okay, so I'm gonna cuss you out just like I've been telling them to. Let's say I wanted to make like a sunset type theme. I have my blue down. Oh, it matches my nails. Focus, Junquil. The brush I like to use to make like soft like sunsets and stuff is the airbrush brush that is in your airbrushing section. This comes with Procreate, and I like to use the soft brush. And the reason I like to do that is you don't have any hard edges. So if I wanted to, see, it kind of just blends itself. The good thing about the Apple Pencil and Procreate is that it responds to your pen pressure. And you can do a very, very soft, light pressure, and it'll start to blend itself naturally. Now you can lower the opacity to get an even cleaner blend between transitioning one color and the other, but that's how you get the effect. It's literally just the brush and how much of pressure you're using. It's gonna do the blending for you. The layers on Adobe are perfect. They don't, like, you see every now and then I'll still have a little glitch here and there with the Procreate ones. You're not gonna have that with Photoshop, and that's because Photoshop is the prototype, you know. But they do work very similarly. Yes, they were created to mimic Photoshop's or Illustrator's layers. So that is the soft airbrush. It allows you to blend softly like that. Now, if you wanted to manually do something like that, you can use by using your harder brushes, like your round brush. You can also switch your blending brush to the softer brush. Where's the airbrush? Damn it, airbrush. There we go. No, I said airbrush. You'll get cussed out. And you can make the brush big enough, Jonquil. You can manually create your gradient from one color to the other. See, it'll blend it after, it'll blend it that way too. Let me see if I wanted to, since I created this whole freaking layer. If I wanted to play, I could play with the blending modes on this just to see what it would do to underneath. See if it'll have any effects. Might discover something fun. You never know. Screen. Ooh. It's always fun to play with the blending modes. Oh, look at that. I mean, sometimes there's different methods to. Everybody's gonna have their own different method. Sometimes there's brushes that'll do it for them. Sometimes it's a blending mode that they've activated. This is like an old overdeveloped photograph. There's so many things that you can do. Vivid light, linear light, pen light. so many things you can do. And delete that. But there's certain brushes that, like I said, if I go into the luminance section, they've got all these different brushes in luminance, like the nebula brush. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. So you gotta just gotta play with your brushes. Different brushes have different effects. See? If I'll make a new one. Change the background color of my layer. Oh, let's just do a dark one. And let's see if we can just do like a galaxy. So there's all kind of things that they have that you can do. So, you just have to play around. There's brushes for everything on there. And there's all different types of techniques you can have. Especially when you start buying your brushes, there's a whole bunch of things that you can um, attempt. You can put some fancy words on top of that, and voila, you have the cover to a sci-fi book. You know, if you know how to use your brushes, there's a lot of stuff you can create. If you know how to use your blending modes, there's a lot of stuff you can create. It's a fun app, and there's like the possibilities are like endless. And none of it's not cheating. It's not cheating. It's a tool. It's a tool. Just like a projector or a light box is a tool. Just like these are a tool. This is a medium, and using everything in it is no. The only thing that is cheating is tracing something that is not yours, tracing somebody else's artwork. That is my rule. As long as you're not chasing somebody else's artwork, go do it. Shit. As long as you're not in here using and abusing AI, use it. Now, does that put you on the same skill level with somebody who learned how to do everything, the old way, brick by brick? Probably not, but, at the end of the day, it's all about creative expression. And so, and the quicker, why is Garnet turned sideways? Girl, why are you turned sideways? Thank you. So it's those same techniques I used to do this quick little simple one. And that right there, it'll get you to do things, the more advanced you learn how to use those things, then you'll be blending stuff like this soon. And then if you get good enough with photo or Procreate or Photoshop or Autodesk, then you can start making your own coloring books. But for giggles, actually I'll make a new layer. I don't know why she's just sitting there like that. Look at one of my brushes. Jonquil art brushes. Oh, they're too big. I think it's too big. I have a video here on YouTube that shows you how to make your own little mannequin head. That's not what I meant to do. Um, in case you're wondering. I'd have spoiled my own little mannequin head, and now I don't like to draw heads no more. I don't like to draw heads no more. Like, why? I made it. Just erase her little. Excuse me. That came up out of nowhere. That dang smoothie. But everything I just showed you, you can use for this. Well, this doesn't have a background, so I don't actually have to turn this into a multiply layer. But where's my skin? It does, it does. I just have to, even though I use it, I still have to edit it. You know, I redraw the eyes every time, and half the time I'll be sitting there like, now why did I even use this? I just use it as a guideline because I have to draw another character now, and I can't. I don't want her face to look like that, so I got to change the shape of her eyes, shape of her nose, everything. It's just a guideline to make sure that everything stays where it's supposed to be, especially if I want a character to have emotion. But for quick lessons like this, it helps. So going over what I did earlier with the quick clipping mask, I got her base color down. Excuse me. I'm going to head of it, make this a clipping mask, set this to multiply, and I'm going to. I don't even have to change the color that I'm using because multiply is automatically going to make it darker. I'm going to go in and I'm going to just shade her face. Well, I like to use the gouache brush when I shade. I don't know her hairstyle yet. I'm just using this as an example to show you. See, I'm going in here and I'm not overdoing it right away. I'm just laying down color. Very mindful. Say what, Wally? Let me change this. I don't like blending with that brush. Blending it out. I actually started blending too soon because I could have actually used more tones in her face. Blue. So you be seeing all of those fancy artists do all these shading. They be shading with blues and purples and stuff. For some reason, chins don't exist in my world. I don't know when I started that. I was like, she don't need a chin. No, okay, well, I'm gonna blend in. And this is just me using the gouache brush as the shading brush. Next week I'll be back to doing traditional. So y'all be sure to let me know what y'all want to learn. Maybe we can do color pencil next week. I don't know. Put that red back. I want that red on her shoulders. And a little flush across her chest. Not too much because I want it to kind of stay there. Yeah, I almost did that this week. I just got, well, we'll definitely do it next week. Because I just got, look what I got. I'll be doing a review on these on my page, but on TikTok, but look what I got. They sent them to me. I was like, now y'all know better. Y'all know better. Y'all know how I am. And you still sending them to me. Erase some places where it gets too muddy. Yeah, I tried them out. I used them to do I used them on live yesterday. So I used them to help me with this drawing. So I don't know if you can tell all the little detail in her face. That's all color pencils. Which, if you didn't know, all three of my coloring books are available for pre-order right now. For a limited time, though. Oops, I didn't mean to go that big with that brush. Also still too big with that brush. Turn on the opacity. I always like to restore some light in between. Alright, underneath that eye. Right here. So for a limited time, you can get bound copies of Vibe in Color Volume 1, Zodiac Dreams, and Now Pause and Proper. Let's set this to screen. I had asked you what you meant and you never answered me. And this would be the basis of how you can start shading. We'll do another clipping mask and use a soft brush. Add more blue. Maybe not do it as screen, we'll do it as normal for now, and then I'll flip through everything. Blending mode. Let's see what we're doing here. I like hard light more. Okay, you get the point. I can agree. I lost. Sorry, y'all didn't even stop me. I just started going. Yeah, I was just supposed to be showing y'all how to do a quick blending mode, and I just lost it. I locked in, and I was like, "Wait a minute." Well, now you know if anybody ever says that Jonquel does not draw her own work herself, now y'all can call him a liar. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. But now you know how to um, do your coloring pages in Procreate, and you got a slight crash course, I hope, in how to use it. So, in case you are afraid or you're nervous about it, this may help you a little bit. We all had to start from somewhere. None of us picked up this dang thing and we're masters at it. I certainly was not, and Wally would tell you he made fun of me plenty of times. But that's all I got for tonight, unless anybody has any other questions or wants me to show them anything. No? All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming. I hope to see y'all again this same time next week where we are going to go over coloring pencils on top of markers. Because I actually have coloring pencils on top of markers. So we'll do that. Have a good night, y'all. Thank you.